Sex is rarely a problem for couples in the throes of early relationship euphoria, the heady, lust-filled giddiness of the honeymoon phase. You're both convinced that you finally met your soulmate, the perfect partner. You are surely destined to be together. Neither of you can find fault in the other, and you can't bear to be apart for even a second. Sex is plentiful, playful, and spontaneous. And then, as time passes and life tires you, novelty morphs into familiarity. Passion makes way for responsibility, and neither of you feel like such a high priority, or for that matter, such a gift to the other anymore. The honeymoon is over, and all too commonly so is the sex. But what if one partner hasn't consented to this new low sex or sexless situation? What if it's in fact making them desperately unhappy? What then? Hi, I'm Laura and I'm a counsellor in the UK. If you're new here, welcome. It's lovely to have you. To the higher desire partner, this decline in sexual frequency or the absence of it can be nothing short of devastating, and I don't say that lightly. Sex is, to those who hunger for it, a critically important and valid emotional need. It's a central way in which they feel able to express and receive love. It makes them feel bonded and secure in their relationships. It helps relieve stress and anxiety. It makes them feel happier, more confident, and more fulfilled. On a physical level, we know that sex boosts immunity, lowers blood pressure, reduces the risk of heart disease and stroke, improves cognitive function, and facilitates better sleep. Sex increases intimacy, connection, and trust between partners. So when sex is missing or sparse, the suffering partner can experience severe feelings of loneliness, disconnection, and low self-esteem. It can lead to depression, feelings of shame, emotional withdrawal, irritability, and decreased relationship satisfaction. Some evidence even suggests that a lack of sexual activity may predict early death. So this is no trivial matter, and sadly, the absence of sex is also all too often the death knell of what otherwise could have been a loving and lifelong union. So why then, if sex is so evidently important and crucial to a person's well-being, do so many partners withdraw and refuse to engage? Here's a couple of paraphrased quotes from people I've personally encountered that illustrate some of the less than healthy feelings on the subject. Typical men, all they think about is sex. He's got a hand, hasn't he? Why should I have to do something that I simply don't want to do? I just don't ever feel like it, to be honest. If I never had sex again, I'd be okay with that. In my mind, it's not fair to demand monogamy and withhold sex without good reason. So these kinds of statements signal major problems within these relationships, and perhaps for the individuals making the statements that go far beyond sex. The reason an individual might hold these beliefs or feel these things will obviously be complex. Maybe they're unaware how harmful inflicting a sexless relationship on their partner is. Perhaps they simply haven't given sex much thought and they don't understand the benefits of a healthy sex life, either for themselves or for their long-term committed relationships. Or maybe they're resentful towards their partners and are withholding sex as punishment. Or perhaps they simply prioritise their own wants and needs above their partners. There will obviously be countless nuanced other reasons, but whatever those are, some serious work needs to be put in to explore and address the underlying cause if one partner is experiencing distress, but that's for another video. For the purposes of this discussion, let's assume you're watching because you love your partner and for whatever reason, sex has been on the back burner for a while and you'd like that to change. Maybe you could happily do without it, but for the good of your relationship, you'd like to make more of an effort to close the gap and improve the overall level of intimacy between you both. To you, I say well done for having the courage to confront such a challenging situation and for your willingness to address it. This spirit of generosity is the stuff of successful relationships. This is where maintenance sex can facilitate, if practiced for the right reasons and with due care, a major and positive transformation in your relationship. So what exactly is maintenance sex? Maintenance sex is the concept of having sex with a long-term monogamous partner who you love in order to strengthen the relationship and improve intimacy, even when you might not be in the mood for it yourself. It's something you're willing to do for the health of the relationship, to feel connected with and to care for your partner, and it's a mutual decision made by you both. It's an effective and hopefully temporary strategy for a couple to manage discrepancies in sexual desire, which are perfectly natural and normal. It's a way to prioritise your partner and the relationship. It facilitates bonding, fosters intimacy, and encourages open communication. It should be enjoyable for both partners. But before you agree to engage in this kind of sex, it would be a good time to check in with yourself to ensure your motivations do in fact come from a healthy place. So for the sake of clarity, there are two types of maintenance sex. One is avoidant-oriented maintenance sex. This is where a sense of obligation is present, maybe due to coercion, pressure, or fear of negative consequences. For example, I don't want to, but I feel that I have to, or I'm afraid to say no. This is not a healthy reason to engage in undesired sex with anyone, and it's not the kind of maintenance sex I'm talking about in this discussion. I don't mean if they're somewhat withdrawn, low, or irritable because they haven't had sex in a long time. That's understandable, I'm sure you'll agree. I'm talking about situations in which you are genuinely afraid of negative repercussions if you refuse to be intimate. That's something you should take seriously and consider getting some support for, but again, it's outside the scope of today's video. What I'm describing here is approach-oriented maintenance sex. This is fully consensual, willingly given, and is motivated by a sense of love, care, and generosity. For example, I could take it or leave it, but I want to express my love to this person. They're important to me, and sex is important to them. So I want to engage with them in this way to ensure that they feel loved. In order for maintenance sex to work, there should be a general sense of goodwill and care present in your day-to-day lives. Successful maintenance sex should not be regrettable sex. Although sex might not be something you'd actively pursue yourself at the moment, it requires that both partners are present in the moment, engaged, and that your focus should be bonding and intimacy. Maintenance sex can often serve as a conduit to a more relaxed and adventurous sex life in the long run. Not everyone experiences spontaneous desire, but willingness and positivity will more likely lead to enjoyment, which might just help you to remember that you actually rather enjoy sex once you get going. This might sound unglamorous, but it's probably going to be essential, for a while at least, that you schedule these encounters, otherwise they're unlikely to happen at all. The timing and frequency isn't something I can advise you on specifically, so discuss this openly with your partner. How much sex would they need for now to feel that things are at least moving in the right direction? It might help to come up with a specific number of times per week. Then you can honestly ask yourself, am I comfortable to meet them there? If not, what number could you work with? Is there a number that you can both agree to, a number that you would actually commit to? Try to remember this whole process is about extending yourself for your partner and for the good of the relationship. So try to be as generous as you feel you're able. It's worth pointing out that sex is not the only need that requires effort and self-sacrifice on the part of the less than keen partner within a relationship. My husband, for example, doesn't always relish the idea of deep conversations, whereas there's literally nothing I like more. He's an active, practical man, and he'd rather get up and get going in the morning and get on with the tasks of the day. He knows, however, that I like at least half an hour to sit and chat about whatever is on my mind, so he sits opposite me every morning and gives me his full attention. He doesn't act like he'd rather not be there. He's happily extending himself for me and for the good of the relationship. It's also worth saying this way of connecting has obviously been very good for him over the years too. Maintenance sex shouldn't be any different. Nobody with an ounce of self-respect wants to have sex with someone who has checked out or appears indifferent. This is, above all, about connection and intimacy, so be present and engaged. You could start by picking set times during the week where you agree to make time to lie together and allow the experience to naturally unfold. This will allow you to prepare psychologically during the day and get yourself into a positive mindset. If it's been a long time, then you're likely to feel awkward, and that's perfectly okay. This will pass, so be kind to yourself. The goal initially isn't mind-blowing sex, it's simply to re-establish a level of physical intimacy and sexual connection. Once sex becomes a regular feature of your daily lives, you'll probably begin to look forward to your encounters, and eventually the structure and schedule won't be necessary. In time, you'll begin to feel more comfortable together, and the focus will become more about pleasure. Ongoing open communication where you're both able to discuss how you feel it's going will be crucial to the process's success. As your rendezvous begin to feel more natural, try to remain open to renegotiation. For example, you might feel okay with changing a set time to a yes day, where you agree to be open to your partner initiating sex at any point during a given day. Whatever works for the both of you, as long as you're both happy things are moving forward. Remember, the goal isn't to remain locked into a structured routine indefinitely. We're trying to move towards something you both probably had in the early days of your relationship: plentiful, playful, and spontaneous sex that's enjoyable and fulfilling for both of you. Our souls ache for connections because we are fundamentally social beings. We can't be whole or experience true well-being if we can't make the kinds of connections that we long for deep within. It's impossible to make sense of ourselves or truly accept who we are without forming intimate bonds with those around us. When we make bids to connect and these bids are rejected or dismissed, our health and well-being inevitably deteriorates. Loneliness and isolation are no joke. To be with someone and not to be able to be close in the way we need to be close is to suffer, often horribly. To truly devote ourselves to another is to devote ourselves to meeting certain needs that they cannot meet themselves. Love is action after all. Sex is a profound way of being close to our partner and developing and maintaining a secure attachment with them. It's a way of feeling held and loved, of being accepted by and moving with another human being. When someone chooses to have sex with us often, they're communicating a deep willingness to connect and to remain truly close. This feeling of being important to someone, of being wanted, welcome and accepted is obviously good for us. I've no doubt it leads to profound feelings of value for the individual, a feeling of belonging somewhere with someone in a vast and confusing world with ever-shifting tides. If you found this video helpful, and I hope that you did, then you might also enjoy this one, where I talk about the importance of female libido and how to raise it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and subscribe if you enjoy these kinds of conversations. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. In the meantime, to yourself and to others, tell the truth.